Hello party people, it's Friday the 18th of October. Welcome to the Good, the Bad and the Stupid podcast and video. Just to let you know, I'm actually going to be, or I have been, putting some short form clips from the videos onto YouTube along with the full episodes. So sometimes you might not see the whole lot, but you might see little 2-minute clips or snippets or whatever from during the episodes or during the show that I pull out. So I'm basically modelling and making my YouTube channel look as scruffy and all over the place as possible. There's some basically little small videos which I'm putting onto Twitter also. I'm getting out there, man. I'm getting out there and putting these things out there. I obviously got nothing better to do, but hopefully you've got more to do with your time and you're going to have a good weekend. The main thing I'm looking forward to this weekend is the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. They're on tomorrow and on Sunday. So tomorrow morning be up early to watch England versus Australia when I should be working because of the rain this week's put me off. I'm meant to be working the weekend, but self-employed. So unfortunately I'm going to decide to do what I want to do. Be the boss. I'm going to be the good boss today, and I'm going to give myself the weekend off. Not going to earn any money though. That's the problem. But yeah, let's England better bloody win if that's the case, because I'll be pissed off if I've give up my time to watch them win and then they don't win and then I've got no money. So I ain't got no money to do anything else then, have I? Anyway, Brexit. Let's talk about Brexit. Let's not talk about Brexit probably, but they've got a deal. They said they've got a deal, and it's a shit deal apparently, according to other people. So worse than Theresa May's deal. Somebody said, Nigel Farage said it's May's deal with a blonde wig on. That was pretty funny. And Johnson fucking walked all the way around the table, shaking hands with every one of the 27 leaders, like. I don't know, almost like fucking, oh, thank you. It's almost like an embarrassing position, because it's good if we had the good deal. I don't even know a good deal from a bad deal. I'm not a politician, but everybody that does know seems to be saying it's shit. So who knows where it's going to go. So there's meant to be a vote on it on Saturday, which now they've said today that they possibly will use some way of avoiding that vote on Saturday so that he can't get us into a no-deal Brexit if the deal fails. So we're still on the shit roundabout as it goes round and round and round and round, and who knows, let's just see which twists and turns this one takes next. But he thinks he's got a good deal when he slagged off Theresa May's deal, and now people are saying it's actually worse than that. So you just fucking can't write it, can you? It's if he did write it, it'd be the shittest book in fucking history. I know that, in English history. It's not going to go down as a page turner in a few hundred years' time when somebody reads back on it. That's for sure. Also, Exit Rebellion. They got the some of the eco warriors, as they're calling them, got up onto the tube train, didn't they? Onto the actual top of the tube train in rush hour, I think it was, and. Bad move. I think they got beat up. You got to make your protest, but you're making it. You're fucking people's days up. And also, on the tube in London, are you mad? Have you seen how miserable people are on the tube in London? They ain't just gonna go. Oh yeah, we're buying. We get it. They could be the staunchest eco warriors themselves, but they've got to get to work, and the tube is already pissing them off. So it's packed, that time in the morning. You ever seen it? They let the people go down, shut the gates, just let them people go because it's that packed, and then have to open the gates, and the next row of, thousands of people pile in, and then some bloody idiot gets up onto the tube train and disrupts it to give a protest. But you don't need to do that. You just need to do it in the streets like you have been doing it, and just keep doing it that way. You don't need to fuck up people's days. Or go and do it change yourself to Downing Street or something like that. Do something a bit worthwhile. You're still getting the papers. You just won't get a punch in the face for it. You know, I'm all for people saving the planet on my behalf. I just don't want it to, you know, ruin your day and stuff, do you, as well? You know what I mean? They would have grievance with that. Ruin your day, ruin your day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, what about the planet? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. I'm saying, yeah, but there's clever ways of doing it and not fucking make a dick of yourself, basically. Let's have a look. What we got? Billy Connolly. Billy Connolly is said he's not going to be performing again. Hopefully that's not true, because he's one of my heroes. It won't. Especially, you know, he just makes it up. I read something a while ago that he, with his comedy routines, he said he's never wrote down a routine. He's never wrote anything down, and he said, I'll defy anybody to find anywhere that I've wrote down, scripted my what he comes out and says. He just goes out and he's got an idea what he's going to say, but he wings it and ad hocs it, and that's why it's so, you know, so good and so like off the cuff, or you know, off the cuff to a degree, but ever changing, if you like, because he's got some kind of idea. And it's a brilliant way of sort of being free on the stage, if you like. But he's basically said he's giving up thing because of his Parkinson's disease, and he said it's getting to him now. He's starting to show signs of it and stuff, but he said he hasn't. And then in another report in another paper, because that made me sad, but in another report in another paper, he said that he might do. He just hasn't got no plans to at the moment. So I think I spoke about it before. He said he was walking through a lobby in a hotel, and a doctor was in the lobby in the hotel, and they said, and he went over to him and said, I think you've got Parkinson's. And he's like, what the fuck are you on about, this sort of thing? And because of the way he was walking, it turns out he did. And that's a fucking good doctor, you know, and good of him to say so anyway. And also, he said here, a doctor in America told me it's incurable. This is the bad doctor. And I said to him, get a grip on yourself. Can't you just say, we've yet to find a cure? Give a man a light at the end of the tunnel. Incurable is such an awful thing to say to somebody. And that's right. And I'm sure Michael J. Fox is like dedicated his life to finding a cure, and I think they're making good strides with it, from what I remember watching some documentary about him. But Michael J. Fox is like, you know, he's a fighter, isn't he? He's like, he's battling it, but he's also dedicating himself to raising funds and research into the curing of the disease. So good, and hopefully Billy Connolly comes back out, because he doesn't need to write anything down anyway. He just needs to come out and just talk, and he'll still be funny. So anyway, he might still do his travel programs, maybe, or talk about his travels, maybe. Let's get on to a wife who was locked up for nagging her bodybuilder husband has held her hands up to it. Valerie Neal was arrested after she moaned at Michael to do more vacuuming. She spent 17 hours behind bars on a charge of controlling behaviour. Over a year after the bizarre feud, in her first interview, she said, all I ever asked my husband to do was vacuum the house, make me a cup of tea, and wipe marks off the patio doors. If that's nagging, I'll hold my hands up to it. But she basically got a criminal offence for that. And so the paper have fucking twisted that to make it sound like she's holding her hands up to being to nagging him, and why she got nicked. That ain't fucking bad, is it? Asking him to do the vacuuming. He should do his fucking share of the vacuuming. Apparently he was always bodybuilding, and she was asking him to do stuff around the house. So that's, unfortunately, that's a relationship that you've got to. Maybe if he come out and said, I clean all the tops and the tables and that, you do the vacuuming, that's your job. But if you don't do shit, then you should get nagged. Sorry, that's part of the deal, isn't it? And it's not even a relationship, that's just somebody sharing a house with somebody. So you get pissed off with people not doing nothing. So, Mr. Bodybuilder, you can't just sit around fucking eating protein all day and fucking doing press-ups. You got to do some vacuuming and wipe the marks off the patio doors. Anyway, she got arrested for that, so I don't know whether that's fair. But she might, who knows? I mean, she might just be fucking, She might be chaotic. Who knows? You know, he might have to fucking go to the gym just to get away from her. I don't know the full story. Don't care. You know, these are only my opinions as what I've just read. I haven't got time to sort of do counselling and get real deep into the stories. So you might know more than me. Just don't hold me down. Don't bring me down, man. Paul Gascoigne got off with his charge. Spoke about this the other day. I thought it was a ridiculous charge anyway because, all right, he shouldn't be going up and grabbing people and planting a kiss on them or smacker on them. Apparently he did it without his false teeth in either because he's given a thank you to his dentist for whatever reason that is, I'm not sure. But he got off with it because they're saying it wasn't sexual assault. It was just a pissed up bloke doing a stupid thing. And anyway, he's been dragged through the courts for 12 months. So regardless, he should have, you know, that's negative enough for somebody. But he looks quite well, as I said before. So it could have, in a way, sort of, in a roundabout way, been good from the bad, you know, because he's had to clean up his image to fight the case and whatever else. So it's probably done him good mentally and stuff. Right, boxer Tyson Fury and Robbie Williams have teamed up for an unlikely fight for the Christmas #1. The pair duet, that just shows how shit music has gone, hasn't it? I mean, fucking hell. I mean, I don't even listen to the charts anymore. I couldn't give a shit what was in the top 10. Half the time, it's like, isn't it like Ed Sheeran, just half of the top 10 is normally like 1, 2, 6, 7 and 9. Some shit like that. But now, you might just squeeze in Robbie Williams, Tyson Fury, Bob the Builder, and fucking, I don't know, the Flumps or somebody like that if they bring out a Christmas song. I couldn't give a shit really. I can imagine that is going to be really crap. Cliff Richard will come in for the fight though. I mean, I think if anybody, Cliff Richard deserves it because he's the shit year, or was it, that was that the year before. He's had a shit time of it, hasn't he, when he was accused of being a paedophile or whatever else, and they dragged him through the thing, and then he wasn't, and he's had a bad time of it. So he might come back and win the Christmas #1 on the back of people supporting him. Yeah, so good, and it's better than. He's always gone for the Christmas #1. It's kind of standard, and that's almost like as Christmas as. Well, I'm going to say as snow then, but we don't even get much snow at Christmas, do we? It's as Christmas as Christmas pie. We don't even have Christmas pie. It's as Christmas as Father Christmas. There you go. Or Santa Claus, same person. Activist protester last night told of the moment kicks rained down on him from the commuters whose tube journey was halted by the group's anarchy. Oh, he's whinging about it. London mob mentality. I've already spoke about that, but don't whinge about it. That was like fucking writing on the wall. I told you, if you're going to do it on some sleepy train in like. I remember I went to a Birmingham City playing against Brighton, and we got onto the Brighton bus and didn't think nothing of it. We got onto the Brighton fan bus going to the ground, and we were just chatting away and whatever. And and people look over or whatever. I thought to myself, if we'd have gone onto the Millwall bus or anywhere another kind of team's bus, we'd have had the shit kicked out of us. But you know, so my link to that is the Brighton bus. You'd feel safe and think, yeah, that's fair enough. We'd do that. And like with them, if you're going on the tube, I would say you're going to get your head kicked in because people are fucking irate, and you should have gone and done it off in some quiet little town like Marlow or Buckinghamshire or somewhere like that, where people would just go, just tut and put up with it. 3 graves had to be dug up after a mix-up over bodies. Right, I have not even read this one, so I'm hoping it doesn't go too dark. Frederick Towner died in 2013, but his remains were put in the wrong plot. I'm not going to read this. So it's almost like that game, isn't it? You know, like with the ball under the wrong thing. There's 3 of them, and they've all been put in the wrong bloody grave, so they're having to readjust that, I think, and do it right. I'm not sure if they're in each other's, but that's not fair. I suppose it can happen, but I don't know how it can happen, because surely they had the funeral at the grave where they was. Anyway, I'm not going to go further down that one. I can talk myself into one of those myself if I carry on. An Indian restaurant has had to defend hanging a swastika above its door. The symbol has been used by Hindus for thousands of years. The swastika translates as well-being in Sanskrit. So if you didn't know that, the actual sign was actually a Hindu sign, slightly in a different position. I know it's kind of exactly the same. But anyway, they've put it up outside their Hindu restaurant within the name Welcome. But a lot of people have jumped on and said that what the hell is this going on with the swastika outside the shop and stuff. And unfortunately, it's been hijacked from the Second World War or previous to that onwards, hasn't it? So people just don't know that. Unless you've got some kind of history with no Indian history, it's been recognised as this since 3000 BC and still represents this for many Hindus around the world today. So it's a risky one putting that up, I think. Small minds and small people who don't understand or don't know won't get it, and they'll just think they probably wonder why an Indian's putting up a swastika. But still, anyway, here we go. As in like a racist swastika, but anyway, yeah, it's probably like it's a shame because it's a symbol of peace and as what they've said, and they can't use it, or they can't use it without constant probably hassle. So maybe they need to do it in some kind of subtle way where people don't see it. Perhaps do it in the behind the till or something. The Apprentice, another more offensive stuff coming out. The Apprentice has been hit by a fresh race storm. 3 people who got kicked off. There's fury as 3 non-whites are axed in the first 3 weeks of The Apprentice. Fury about what? The Apprentice has been hit by a fresh race storm over 3 ethnic minority candidates were fired in a row. I can't even. I just don't get it. I mean, were they the shittest? That's the question. Were they the shittest in the tasks at the time? Therefore, they're in a competition where there's 10 or 15 or I don't know how many people in there. If they happen to be the shittest in the first 3 tasks, you've got to go. You can't just suggest that, you can't kick somebody out who's shit because of his skin colour. That is almost reverse of the racism, isn't it? So it's pathetic that somebody would say this. But I've not watched the programme, so again, don't count me on it. I'm just saying a fury as 3 non-whites are axed. If you want a multicultural world and a multicultural competition, for instance, it's not going to be a fair competition if somebody has to worry about who gets the boot. So I'm not on board with that at all. But again, I've not seen it, and as far as last time I watched it, I think I might have seen one of them get the boot, and I just caught it at the last 10 minutes of it, and he was pretty shit. No, which one was that? No, I think that was one of them. No, I think one of them who was pretty shit, and he ended up staying in, should I say, that week. He didn't actually go. So he had a reprieve then. So he was obviously shit again. So they're all going to get the boot eventually anyway, aren't they? Speaking of which, what was that other thing I was going to talk about? I spoke about it yesterday, the guy at Atlantic Records, Ben Cook, who had to stand down over his dressing up as the Run DMC. Now it's come out in the paper today, Rudimental were also pissed off about it, and they said that he should, they wanted him gone and whatever else. So I don't even know the full story of that, so I said my bit on it yesterday, but no one's actually saying whether he had black makeup on or anything else. I was basing on the fact that he was dressed up as somebody from Run DMC, which I don't see as that bad anyway. I don't understand what, but they're saying that. I look for the picture of it, but there's no pictures and stuff, so I'll have to. The jury's out on that one. But at the same time, it was 7 years ago, and if he did wear makeup and he was dressed up and all that kind of stuff, he was doing it at a party for musical icons. Was it a bad judgment? Maybe. Was it something I'd ever do? No. Was it something that somebody should lose their job, their career in 12 years of building up urban and working with black acts and whatever else? Well, that's for you to decide. But perhaps it's personal. Maybe he's got a history for it. I've no idea. But all I'm saying is that you've got to fucking read between the lines a little bit. You know, if he's an out-and-out racist and he's done it, then fair enough. But if he's like made a mistake and he's like a bit of a dumbass and he's like it's something from years and years ago where he's dressed up and I don't know. But as far as I was speaking about, I thought he dressed up like Run DMC in all the cool gear that they wear. So, you know, for me, that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that in the sense that he's dressing up as a hip hop star. But nobody spoke about it. The picture hasn't come out anyway, has it? So jury's out, as we said. This one, model enthusiast John Tritchard shows off the miniature stately home he has spent 30 years building. A guy's built a miniature little stately home. I'm going to show it to the camera, to the video version. And imagine a room that's just like the fucking best living room in the world. Well, it's not. I'd never live in there, but it's pretty flamboyant and a pretty like a grand design type situation. And look at his eye looking through the door there. It's a miniature one. He's made it look like it. I thought that was the main room. I thought that was a room, but it's actually a miniature version of it. It's a close-up camera version shot. So he's obviously like what's the word? It's kind of artistic, but at the same time, it's like it must be hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to do these fine little details. And that is like it's a skill, but you've got to get out more, ain't you? You've got to do a bit more than fucking sit around creating tiny little tables and tiny little salt and pepper things and tiny little pictures on the wall and stuff like that. 30 years worth, and it's only a third finished. It's almost like not autistic. What's the word? It's kind of like the attention to detail. It's some like special skill. You've either got it or you haven't. I think there's a guy in Birmingham who he's a famous artist now. He paints on tiny little things, like ridiculous things. For a miniature, he has to look, you know, they're microscopic, but he paints like castles or whatever. I'm not too sure what he does, but he's had like royalties buy them and stuff like that, royals buy them and whatever else. So he's up there and he's quite famous for it. And he's like. He paints on tiny miniature things, and it's how would you even know that you could do that? You just can do it. He probably hasn't even. How can you train to do that either? You can't just go. You know what? I'm going to spend months and years trying to paint on a grain of rice because it would be shit forever until one day you crack it. But I think these people, they just come out and they just crack it from day one because it was almost like a savant kind of thing or something in you that. You're just drawn to it and you can do it. It's that sixth sense or the that other part of your brain that some of us are lucky enough to use. I'm not too sure what my skill is yet, but I'm going to find it one of these days. I don't think it's these podcasts. Not based on my audience figures anyway. Come on, people. I probably lost a few today after some of the shit I've been talking. Especially from my Extinction Rebellion friends. I'm saying I'm with you. But I'm saying just don't do it when I've got to get the train. Last couple of things I'm going to finish up on, or last few. A couple went to the airport, pulled over at the airport security, and one of their cats jumped out of their luggage. Can't put that through the what's it called? That would you can't put that through. Well, you could have put it through the X-ray machine. That'd have been funny. But so they've took it to the airport. I wonder what they did with that. They had to put him into. The airport security let them arrange for the dad Barry to come and collect him so they could still get their flight. So he nearly got an olive. Imagine if it had turned up actually at the airport the other side, because they do make mistakes in these X-ray machines. He could have turned up wherever they went and popped out the bag and had a holiday himself. That'd be pretty cool for him. 9 parrots worth a total of £9,000 have been stolen. The culprit forced entry into the garden cage in Christchurch in Dorset. So if anybody hears any squawking or loud screaming or repetitive, annoying, Or maybe the parroty's like saying, fucking take me back, take me back, take me back. Or saying something, you know, against whoever. You might have 9 of them shouting and screaming. So if it sounds like a party but it's repetitive, it could be the parrots. So call the police or call the authorities. Don't do it when you're on weed though, because you probably get it completely wrong, and it's probably just the voices in your head. If you're that way inclined, if you're one of those ones who weed doesn't agree with you, like me. Right, last couple. Record numbers of Brits are ditching couch potato lifestyle. Figures have shown 28.6 million in England achieved the recommended 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week in the past year. I don't know if I've got anything to say on that. Good, you should get off your arse and do something. You know why that is? Because the TV's so shit these days. You can't even be a couch potato. It just drives you. Unless you're a weed smoker, there's no way you can sit in front of the TV all day. It's, you know, weed smokers can watch the TV on repeat, the shittest channels. You know, watch the 5 versions of the Jeremy Kyle show on different channels, the same episode. They wouldn't even notice. Weed is the kryptonite to shit TV, but not if you've got nothing like that to get you through it. Unfortunately, the TV is almost made to get you off your arse and get you out the door. Right, I'm going to finish up on one more thing. Shaggy has told fans it wasn't me after his Instagram account was hacked by internet scammers. The account had posted pleas to send him money online. He said, "I would like to make it clear that those are nothing more than an internet scam." So why would they use Shaggy? I mean, that's like, why would anybody send Shaggy any money anyway? You know, it's like fucking, it'd be surreal, that would, getting a message from Shaggy. "All right, Wayne, I've just run into a bit of bad times at the minute. I wonder if you could send me some money over and blah, blah, blah." I'd be like, "No, I don't even fucking know Shaggy. Don't even know you. Why would I do that?" Yeah, that's a surreal one. So if you get any messages from Shaggy, you've heard it here, you've heard it now. Don't, because it's an internet scam. Right, I'm going to finish up on one more thing. A widower's 50-year collection of adult magazines is tipped to sell for £40,000. His mags include most in immaculate condition, dating back to the 50s, include Playboy, Penthouse, Hustler. Well, they're just soft porn anyway, aren't they? With many still in original envelopes from when they were posted. So if you're into that, he's just found, Cash in the Attic, £40,000. That's quite good though, unless you've got fucking tons of it. So there's a company that buys old porn that people find in their magazines. It's called We Buy Any Porn, and basically they are a company that's sort of not praying, but they're for when people are finding it in their sort of dead relatives' houses and they're all embarrassed about it and think, what we're going to do with all this? These company goes in and hoovers it all up and sells it for a profit. So don't give it to him, because there's money in it by the sounds of it. £40,000 for his collection. Might have to go and have a look through the garage to see what I've got. Right, okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to have a good weekend. Hopefully you do, and see you again next week. See you later. Bye bye.